Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have my March book haul. So in the month of March, I acquired 12 books from a variety of places. As usual, this book haul is going to be split down into sections of where I acquired the books from. And this month, these sections are going to be books that I bought full price, books that I received in subscription boxes, books that I received as gifts, and review copies I have received from either publishers or authors. That being said, I do not feel like a book haul needs any more introduction, so let us get into the books I acquired in March, starting with the ones I received as gifts. So the first book I received was from the lovely Bethany. Thank you so much, Bethany, and that was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. You guys may know that I have been on a little bit of a romance kick recently. I have been struggling with fantasy reading slumps. I just really wanted to read nothing but romance, and Bethany was kind enough to enable me by sending me a copy of Ugly Love. Now this is a new adult romance that follows Tate and Miles. They don't like each other very much, but they do have a mutual attraction, so they do decide to start up a casual sex arrangement because Tate does not have time for love and Miles does not believe in love. And I have actually already read this one, so if you would like to know my thoughts on this, then I will pop my mid-March wrap-up up here for you guys. The wonderful Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction actually sent me 2 books in March. Thank you so much, Ashley. You know you didn't have to. The first one further continued my Colleen Hoover addiction, and that one was Confess. I have not read this one yet, but this is one that falls into Colleen Hoover's new adult that's a little bit dramatic and angsty, probably with some trigger warnings. I want to read this one in particular because it is, I believe, quite similar to the ones that I love, like It Ends With Us and November 9 and also Ugly Love. I don't really know too much about the plot of this. I do tend to go into romances quite blind, but I believe that we are following a character who walks into an art studio and meets an artist, so I'm guessing it's a romance between those two, and I believe that he has a deep dark secret that she's trying to find out. The second book that Ashley sent me is The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich. This is one that me and Ashley had spoken about, and I said that I wanted to read it, although I can't remember why. I remember that it has a specific trope or writing device that I particularly like in it, but neither me nor Ashley can remember which one it is. We just know that I want to read this. So this is either a horror or a thriller that takes place, I think, in a high school that burned down 25 years ago. There were some fatalities from that accident, and apparently for 2 decades nobody really knows what happened, so I'm guessing that this is what actually happened when the school burned down. I believe that this one is a very quick read. It also has some deterioration on the pages, and I believe that it does continue the further into the book you get, and I think, I'm not sure if it's entirely, but this book is at least partially told in case file form, so that could possibly be the element of this that made me want to read it. But regardless, I'm very excited to get to this one, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Bookopoly lets me put this in my Earls TBR. The final book that was gifted to me this month was the incredible brick that is the entire Books of Earthsea by Ursula Le Kay Gwyn. This one was sent to me by the lovely, the wonderful Linda. Thank you so much, Linda, for sending this my way. You have literally saved my life because I am actually going to be co-hosting a read-along of the Books of Earthsea in April through to, I'm not sure when, but we're reading 1 book per month. The read-along is hosted by Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction, so I will link the announcement in my description box if you guys are interested in taking part. I don't actually know too much about this series except that it is classic fantasy. I believe that it's either children's or young adult, and I also think that it may be a coming of age fantasy, and I know that it features a magic school. That is pretty much the extent of my knowledge on this one, but I will definitely be reading the first section of this book, which is around 150 pages, in April. As for the 2 books that I bought brand new in March, I don't really have too much to say aside from they are both Crescent City or House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is the one that I pre-ordered. This is the Waterstones edition with the red sprayed edges. They have beautiful end papers in just all of the editions. This is now my favourite book of all time. I did have the pleasure of reading a review copy of this before its release, and I have posted a full non-spoiler review. If you would like to see my full thoughts on this, I will of course link it up here. And then my second copy of this is actually the UK tour edition, which is this beautiful red piece of art, and it has the quote, "Through love all is possible," on the back. This one is also signed, and it also came with a temporary tattoo and a pin. The reason I have this one is that I had tickets to Sarah J Maas's UK tour in which you would get this edition. This was the only way to get it. Unfortunately, the tour was cancelled due to coronavirus, but I was still able to purchase the book, so I'm very happy to add these to my Sarah J Maas collection. If you are unaware what this book is, this is Sarah J Maas's first adult book. It's an urban fantasy where we follow a half-fae woman called Bryce Quinlan, who is tasked with investigating a string of murders by the Archangel governor of the city, because the Archangel does believe that Bryce has a personal connection to these murders, and because this is quite a dangerous task, she is assigned a personal bodyguard in the form of Hunt Athalar, who is the love of my life, honestly. So yeah, favorite book of all time. Not mad that I have 2 copies of it, because I love it. So I have 3 review copies that I have been sent this month by either authors or publishers. The first 2 are the first 2 books in the same series, and they are Fortuna Swan and Restless Slumber by KJ Sutton. KJ Sutton is a self-published author that reached out to me and asked if I would like to receive these books for review. Now, I do not often accept review requests, because if I have a review copy, I definitely intend to read it and review it, and obviously that is not always possible. I can only read so many books, but Kelsey sold these to me. I honestly have never been more excited to read a book. So in the first book in this series, Fortuna Swan, she is only a small girl. We follow a girl called Fortuna, who is this mystical, magical creature, and she is the last one of her kind. Her brother is also of the same species as her, but unfortunately he has gone missing. So Fortuna is currently working in a bar, seeing if she can find a lead to what has happened to her brother. Her goal while working at this bar is to find somebody incredibly powerful who will be able to help her out, and who walks in but an incredibly powerful fairy male. So this is a very dark fairy romance. I believe that this has lots of graphic sexual content, lots of swearing. I also believe that this is a dark romance in terms of the actual romantic elements. It seems that they have some sort of trade, some kind of bargain worked out. Not entirely sure what this entails, but honestly, there is nothing that you can say to me to get me to read a book faster than dark fairy romance. And once again, you can expect me to be reading at least the first book in this series in April. Again, providing Bookopoly allows it, because I'm also participating in the Owl's Magical Readathon. And then the other review copy that was sent to me in March is Aurora Burning by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is the sequel to Aurora Rising, which is another book that I have just finished. You can find my review for that in the mid-month wrap-up, along with my review for Ugly Love. But this is the second book in J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman's newest sci-fi series, the Aurora Cycle, I believe it's called. And in that series, we follow Squad 312, who is led by Tyler Jones. Now, Tyler Jones was destined to finish at the top of his class at the Aurora Academy. However, he is late to his graduation ceremony because he is rescuing a young girl named Aurora from the 200-year-old wreckage of a spaceship. Because of that, instead of having his pick of the cream of the crop from his academy, he does end up with a crew that is formed from the bottom of the barrel, and together they end up going on quite a wild adventure, which is triggered by Aurora stowing away in their ship and her discovery that she actually possesses some very strange powers that even she did not know that she had. And once again, you can expect to see me read this in April. And then finally, we have my subscription box books. The first one of which is The Midnight Lie by Marie Rakowski. This one came in my February Illumicrate, which was slightly delayed because of acquiring items from vendors that are affected by coronavirus. This edition in particular does have an exclusive Illumicrate cover and also red sprayed edges. I do not know too much about this. Even the synopsis is quite vague, but what I can gather from the synopsis is that this follows a girl who lives in quite an oppressive society. All of the pleasures of the world are reserved for a group of people called the High Kith, and pretty much if you are not of the High Kith, life is pretty miserable for you. However, things start to change for our main character Nirim when she hears a rumor that the High Kith may possess magic, and she is determined to take some of that magic for herself. I do also believe that there may be a female-female romance in this. Not entirely sure, that is just something I've heard. I haven't heard it confirmed by Marie Rakowski or anything, but there is a possibility that there will be some lady love in here. My March Owlcrate book was The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. This is an exclusive Owlcrate edition as always, and it also has some very nice metallic sprayed edges. I do like a sprayed edge on a book, I have to admit. This one is actually a historical fiction, which I had no idea that Marie Lu was writing. Honestly, kind of feel out of the loop a little bit when this arrived on my doorstep. In this story, we follow the sister of Wolfgang Mozart, who is of course the very famous Austrian composer, and she is very gifted with music and composing. However, she does live in the shadow of her younger brother Wolfgang. I believe that there is a little bit of fantasy in here because I think somebody offers her a deal that she can't refuse, which I'm assuming will put her in the spotlight instead of her brother. So this is a historical fiction, may have a little bit of fantasy, and is also a historical retelling. Really not sure how how I'm going to feel about this one, but I am a little bit intrigued because I have actually been to Austria and to Mozart's house. I don't really remember it because I think I was around 13, but I don't know, maybe reading this will jog some of that knowledge out of my brain. And then finally, the BookBox Club book for March is Hold Back the Tide by Melinda Salisbury. This is another one that I know very little about and has quite a vague synopsis, but it follows a character called Oliver Douglas who something happened to her mother. I'm assuming her mother died, and everybody knows what happened to her mother. That's literally what it says on the synopsis. Everybody knows what happened to her, and there are some dark forces stirring in the mountains. Now, this has a very watery cover, and it also came in the Mythical Monsters box. That was the theme for March, so I am expecting a little bit of fantasy in here, even though nothing's really mentioned on the synopsis. I don't know, maybe I'll read it someday, maybe someday soon. I don't have plans to read this in April, surprisingly, considering everything else that we have here, but I'm a little bit intrigued. I think this one will be a fast-paced read. Okay, so those are all the books that I have acquired in the month of March. Please let me know down in my comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, especially the last couple of books, the subscription box books, that I am very unsure about. But that is about it for this video, so please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find links to my Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.